Hey guys, this is going to be the orientation for the Heartland 25 BH model. So as you walk in, you'll notice immediately off to the left will be the two bunk beds for you there. Off to the right is going to be the pantry for the kitchen. And then this is also where you'll find your keys hanging on the hook there. So those are your keys for the outside exterior door. There's a light up above with a switch on it there. Also the switch is controlled out here. So here you'll find most of your light switches for the inside, as well as the awning in and out. So you have an electric awning there. If you are at camp and it gets windy, make sure that comes in, or if you leave the camp or at nighttime also, make sure that those come in so it doesn't get ruined if you're away from camp and it gets too windy. A couple of light switches here, another light switch here. This one is actually for a Wi-Fi antenna that isn't connected, so you won't be using that. Then as you come in, you've got, this is the bathroom door here. So inside the bathroom, you'll find your shower, the toilet, some toilet paper, and the sink there. When you're using the shower in here, this is how it'll close for you there. And then to release it, you just push it in, come out. The shower head itself has a on-off switch here. So when you're taking a shower, you always want to be, if you don't have full hookups, you want to be conservative with your water. So when you're taking a shower, you'll wet yourself down, turn off the water, soap yourself up, then turn it back on, rinse off, and so forth. You never really want to have continuous running water if you don't have full hookups. Now for the toilet, down below is that's the foot pedal to add the water into it. So also it is an RV toilet, so you want to be careful about the toilet paper you use, as well as making sure that you use enough water to flush it down. Even though you're trying to be conservative while camping, and make sure you use enough water to flush the toilet paper down, because otherwise it could clog up on you, and that's not something you want to have happen. In the bathroom here is over the main control panel here, where you're going to check your battery and holding tank levels, as well as your water pump and water heater. So it's all push to test. You can push the battery indication, and you'll see here it says 100% on the battery. If you're not at a full hookup site, you're going to want to check this periodically throughout the day. Make sure that your batteries are being maintained, especially before you go to bed. You want to make sure your batteries are as close to full as you can get them. So if you're at the 65% or the 35%, you're going to make sure you want to run that generator. So the 65%, you might want to run it for an hour. 35%, run it for a couple of hours. Once you turn the generator off, come back in, test the battery, see where it's at. If it's still low, continue to run the generator for a little bit longer. It's important to have full batteries going into the evening hours. That way your propane alarm will last through the night. Otherwise, when the battery gets too low, that propane alarm will start to beep. And the only way to turn it off is by charging the battery, which you can't really do in the middle of the night. So top that off before bedtime. Fresh is going to be your fresh water capacity. This is how much you have available to use. Black is going to be your holding tank for your toilet. That's how much you've already used. Gray is going to be the shower and the bathroom, and then galley is going to be the sink water. So sometimes these sensors do misread. So when we do bring you the trailer, the tanks will be completely emptied. Sometimes the sensors may indicate a third or 2/3 of black. Sometimes we'll do that with toilet paper residue in the tanks. The galley tanks can sometimes have leftover soap scum or different oil residues left in there from it before. But know that we have emptied it when we first brought it to you, but check those periodically throughout. Water pump, you're going to need that if you don't have hookup site. That's how you'll run the water throughout the sinks and the toilet and the shower. And that can just stay on the whole time when you're camping, so you don't have to turn it off. LP water heaters, if you don't have hookups, that's going to be for your gas water heater. If you're at a hookup site, you'll just use the electric water heater. So you don't need both of them, it's just one or the other. So either electric if you have hookups, gas if you don't. Coming out into the main cabin area, you've got off to your left there the dinette, which also drops down into a sleeping area. I'll show you how that works real quickly here. So you simply come over here, you lift the top piece off. You'll take these two posts and just lay them on the ground. This table now is going to slide underneath these cushions, and there's a little ledge there. Just slide that into there. And you'll go ahead and take your back cushion rest. And just fill that in. And there's your sleeping area. Okay, now moving on through the rest of the cabin here, you've got a couple of light switches there for the dinette area. You've got your refrigerator. Now, as far as the refrigerator and the temperature, they're not like your normal refrigerator at your house, so it takes a little bit longer for them to cool down, especially if they have the door open or you just put in a whole bunch of food into it. It could take an hour or 2 hours to get truly cold. So we turn it on in advance for you, so it should be cold when you get there, but it does take a little bit of time to cool down. There is a setting up here, which if it's not cold enough, this plastic slider, you can slide that up or down. That's how you adjust the temperature in it. Up will be the coldest position for it. Okay. Now, moving on to for the kitchen sink here. The sink you have is just like a regular residential faucet at your house. Again, being very conservative of your water usage, depending on if you have full hookups or not. If you're not at a full hookup site, you should never have continuously running water going, because you have to conserve your freshwater tank as well as your holding tanks on that. So if you are doing dishes and you don't have full hookups, a good suggestion is to have two buckets. One bucket with soapy water where you wash the dishes, another bucket of clean rinse water, and you just use it that way. That way you're going to conserve your water most of the time. Coming over to the right here, you have your microwave and then your stovetop. The microwave does need power, so you'll need either to be at an electric hookup site or be running the generator to operate the microwave. The stovetop has a igniter off to the left there. You're just going to go ahead and turn on your propane there for the igniter. Turn this to the right, and then it'll spark up, and there you go. When you're all done, just go ahead and turn the knob back to turn it off. Okay, now for the oven, we're going to have to light the pilot light. So you're going to get your lighter. You're going to open this up here. You're going to turn the knob to where it says pilot. And then when it says pilot, you're going to push it in and hold it while taking your lighter. And you're going to light the pilot light all the way in the back. And then once the pilot light is lit and it stays lit, you can release the pilot knob and then twist in to your desired temperature for the oven. Then when you're complete, go ahead and just turn the whole thing back off. Okay, now coming up to the TV area. So you have your TV, your stereo. Stereo has multiple zones, zone 1 and 2. That'll be inside and outside. There's also a HDMI plug-in if you wanted to connect the DVD or something to the TV. You can also Bluetooth to the stereo as well. The remote should be located up here, and then you got your TV up there. Now going into the master bedroom area, you now have a nice big king size bed. There's some USB ports off to each side of them for charging your phones and tablets. You have a couple of reading lamps above your bed there, which are just operated by the switches on them. The main switch for the bedroom is actually located right outside here on the kitchen side. Okay folks, that is the orientation for the North Trail 25BH.